What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry? I'll go first. A few years ago, I was serving this guy. He was old and wasted. Kept ordering shots of Clase Azul, which is like a $250 shot of tequila. Whole time he's being like gross to me, but I'm like, whatever, this guy's like sad. Bill comes out to like $2,000, and the average guest check at this place was like $90. So at the end, he wants the bill. I bring the machine over, and when I bring the machine over, he puts his hand on my ass and just rests it there. And then he goes, "How much should I tip you?" Like, I don't know if he thought he was flirting, but I immediately understood that I had all the power in this situation because he was assaulting me. So I said, "I'll put the tip in for you." I gave myself a 100% tip while he rested his hand on my ass. For all you mathletes, 100% of 2,000 is 2,000. Is resting your hand on my ass worth $2,000? Probably not. A lot of people have done it for free. You're paying for burrata, but you're getting mozzarella, you know? Anyway, I hope he learned his lesson. He probably didn't. What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
Yo, okay, I was in high school working at a Mexican restaurant. It was lunchtime. There wasn't a lot of people around except for this one white woman. She was kind of giving me the stank eye, and as I was walking by her, she stopped me and went, "The windows over there are dirty. Can you clean them?" I was like, "Okay, sure." Started cleaning the windows. She looks at me and goes, "No, you're not cleaning those windows properly. You need to do a circular motion." I was like, damn, this bitch is watching me right now. Why doesn't she just fucking clean the windows? Whatever. All right, sure, ma'am. Started doing the circular motions. Then this bitch had the nerve to look at me and go, "Do you even know how to cook or clean?" At this point, I was really fucking annoyed, so I was like, "Not really." And then she went, "Oh, what a shame. See, my son just married this woman from Japan, and she knows how to cook and clean." Damn, bitch, good for her, I guess. She continues on. Here's the issue with America. All these young women are growing up not knowing how to cook and clean, and sooner or later, all the men in America are going to have to start outsourcing their wives. Excuse me? I was like, no way this bitch is actually serious. This must be a joke. But then she continued to say, how do these women expect to be married if they don't know how to cook or clean? It took everything in me to not punch this bitch in the face. So instead, I calmed myself, looked at her, and said, wow, honestly, it's embarrassing that these men aren't more self-sufficient because now they have to go through all the trouble of outsourcing their wives. Unfortunately, I'm gay, so when I get married to my wife, we can just, I don't know, hire a maid. She did not like my answer, but I also just did not give a fuck because I didn't like her.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
Bitch! Let's fucking talk about it. So, as many of you know, I used to work at Starbucks. I was a barista, and I worked at Starbucks for 4 years. I don't think I've ever talked about this on TikTok, but what I'm about to tell you is 100% true. Like, I could not make this shit up even if I wanted to. Anyways, at the one store that I had worked at, we had this one fucking customer. She was this middle-aged woman, would come in all the time. She was a fucking regular, and she fucking hated me. Like, hated me. For no reason, mind you. Like, I was always so nice to her. Like, I never said anything mean to her. Anyway, she used to talk shit about me to my coworkers when I wasn't there. And just, like, say shit as if she fucking knew me. Like, bitch, I don't know you. Like, what are you talking about? Anyways, I didn't mind her talking shit about me until she lied to my manager. And get ready for this. You wanna know what she told my fucking manager? She told my manager that I was putting cleaning products and rat poison in her fucking food. And if you didn't know this, at Starbucks, one of the policies is the customer is always right. So no, I didn't get fired when this happened. However, after she sent in a complaint about me, I literally would have to walk to the back of the store whenever she came in so she would know I wasn't touching any of her food or drinks. Even though my manager literally knew I wasn't poisoning this woman. Like, what the fuck? Who does that? Who says that?
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry? I'll go first. A few years ago, I was...
Okay, I have a list, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm going to tell you guys what the most disrespectful thing I've done to a customer is. So I've been seeing a trend that, like, people will come into bars and order the wrong things multiple times to make their waitress look stupid and laugh about it. Like, this has been a trend on this Stitch video that I've been seeing, and these motherfuckers thought they was going to do it to me. They had the audacity to come into my fucking bar. It's not my bar, like, I don't own it, but I run the whole place, or I did. Anyways, they sit down, order their food, and one guy orders a sandwich with rasher on it. So I bring it all out, and he goes, this isn't my sandwich. And I said, okay, well, you did say rasher, so maybe you don't know what that is. Did you want bacon instead? Like, what was your sandwich? He called me incompetent and told me he wanted a roast beef sandwich. And all of his friends were like, hee 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 hee, giggle, giggle, giggle. So I went and I got him a roast beef sandwich. He said again, this isn't my sandwich. And they all started laughing. He said, I want a turkey sandwich. I walked into the kitchen and I made him the worst, grossest, I didn't do anything like weird to it. I just didn't cook it all the way. Grilled cheese sandwich I've ever cooked in my life. It looked disgusting. The chef was like, do you need me? I said, sit back. And I brought it out and he said, this isn't my sandwich. And I said, yes, it fucking is. So all of his friends stopped laughing and I said, enjoy, just like that. And I walked away. He didn't eat it. They all left. And then he came back another day. It was track season, so they tend to do this a lot, these horse guys. They'll like bring one group of friends and then bring another group of friends and then bring another group of friends. So he comes back the second day with another group of friends. And this motherfucker thought he was slick or something. Like, I'm gonna treat you like shit, bro. So I took down his order, turkey sandwich, and I brought him a fucking grilled cheese sandwich. He said, this isn't my sandwich. And I said, yes, it is. You get what I give you at this point. And all of his friends were just like, what happened between those two? Anyways, I hate served him all day. He did not get refills on his drinks. And he fucking sat there and he ate his fucking grilled cheese like the bitch he is. I was very attentive to all of his friends though. So he could tell that I fucking hate him. And every time he looked at me, I just looked at him like that. So then the next day he comes in and he sits at the bar. Why are you sitting at my bar? So I go, what the fuck do you want? And he said, ma'am, I'd like to apologize. I'm very sorry for what I did to you the first night, and I should never do that again. And I've learned my lesson. And then he gave me $50. And then I went and got my nails done. And I never saw that dumb motherfucker again. Apology accepted, but I still don't like you and you're still ugly.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry? I'll go first.
So this is actually a shared most disrespectful thing with my old manager at one of my old jobs. Her end of the story is that this customer came up, bought a salad, and then came over and was like, hey, you're out of the ranch at the salad bar. And she offered her 3 other types of ranch because we had 4 types of ranch, but we were out of the Hidden Valley that day. My end of the story is that I'm standing there, minding my business, zoning out, saucing a pizza, and I feel something hit my legs. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look down, there's cucumbers everywhere. And I look up, and I see this woman, like my manager's jaw is on the floor, and this woman looks her dead in her eyes and goes, give me my fucking ranch! Me and my coworker tried so fucking hard not to bust up laughing. Thank God it wasn't a to-go thing or it would have been glass. This woman chucked her salad at my manager's head because we ran out of one of our 4 types of ranch and she wanted the Hidden Valley. And I have the security camera footage on my old phone.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
I worked in really popular nightclubs in Hollywood around 2010. I waited on a ton of famous people. This one takes the cake. I walked over to his table and he said, hey, my table's a mess. Can you clean it up? I said, sure. Wiped down the table, made sure everything was clean, walked away. And then I hear this. Anyone who works in the service industry is triggered by that noise. I calm myself, walk over there. He says the table's still messy. Sure enough, something had spilled again. Wiped it up, walked away from the table. He says, the table is still messy. Are you bad at your job? And I lean over to look at the table and it is bone dry. And while I'm leaned over the table, he pours cranberry juice in the back of my head. I snap. I grab the bottle. I jump up. I wedge his head between the wall and the bottle and I inform him that he will not be making actions like that again if he wants to have a singing career. I almost got fired and I'm much calmer now.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry? I'll go.
When this pandemic started, I was working security. Tell me why I was at Walmart trying to enforce the mask mandate. This one customer was like, I don't want monkeys blocking my entrance. About 15 minutes later, he comes out with a thing of bananas and throws them at me. Like, here, I know you're going to get hungry soon. I was very furious, but the funny thing was, one customer, he was very upset that he seen that, and he kicked that fool's ass in the parking lot. He asked me to call the police, and I was like, ooh, ah. And then he got in his car and drove away.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
I hope you all are ready. This is my villain origin story. I am not joking. At my last restaurant job, I had worked at the restaurant for the entirety of its existence. I had worked my way up from server to floor manager, and I had been like every position in between. During lockdown, it was announced that we were closing temporarily for 2 weeks. And then we had a family fund that you could, like, I donated $1 out of every paycheck to go towards the family fund, which was an emergency fund for employees to apply to if, like, they came upon hard times. So, of course, all of us during the temporary lockdown applied to the family fund because we didn't have any money. And then they announced that my restaurant and 6 others in the small chain were actually closing permanently, and that we couldn't access the funds in the family fund because we were no longer employees. I was supposed to close on a house the next week, and my dad had to co-sign so I wouldn't lose the house because I was no longer employed. One of my coworkers who was 9 months pregnant lost her maternity leave. Another employee lost his house, and 2 employees are no longer alive that worked there. The restaurant reopened this year, and they didn't offer any of us our jobs back. Like, they actually sent us all an email that was like, hey, just so you know, we're reopening, but we're not giving you your job back. The restaurant is run by a billionaire whose brother is also a billionaire who was recently the host of SNL and owns a car company. Don't eat there.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
I've never worked at a restaurant, but I worked front desk at a lot of places. I worked at this really bougie indoor cycling studio, and one time a client came out of class screaming at me because she sweat too much in the class. I'm sorry, did I sign you up for indoor cycling? Another client once insisted that she was a size 7 shoe because you had to wear these special cycling shoes to get on the bike, and her feet weren't fitting in the size 7. And so I asked, would you like a size 8? And she said, no, the shoes you're giving me are not a size 7 because I am always a size 7. I was giving her the size 7 shoes. Her foot was not fitting. She then insisted I was giving her child-sized cycling shoes and asked for a different pair. Like, miss, I am not Prince Charming. You are not Cinderella. The shoe is just not fitting. When I told her that all our size 7s were that size and picked up the pair of size 8s and said, but these are the 8s if you wanted to try, she picked it up, threw it, and said, how dare you? One time I was working front desk at my college's library, and it was closing time, and we would always make multiple announcements before closing time, and I went over to ask this group of students to leave because they still hadn't left, and one of the students said to me, don't tell me what to do, my tuition pays your financial aid. As if we weren't standing in the same state school library. I looked at her and said, okay, and my working class self pays for your father's tax breaks. Your point?